I stood in front of my bedroom mirror, carefully applying the finishing touches to my makeup. The invitation to my stepdaughter Victoria's wedding lay on the dresser, its gold-embossed letters catching the morning light. After 15 years of marriage to her father, Robert, I'd hoped we'd finally moved past the hostility. But Victoria had made it clear from day one that I would never be more than an unwelcome intruder in their perfect world. "Sarah, have you seen my blue tie?" Robert's voice called from the walk-in closet. I smiled softly, remembering how we'd first met at that small diner where I worked as a waitress. He'd been different then, kind, understanding, and didn't care about social status. But years of influence from his wealthy family and his daughter had slowly changed him. "It's in the left drawer, honey," I replied, smoothing down my navy blue dress. I'd chosen it carefully, elegant but understated, not wanting to draw attention away from the bride. The wedding was being held at the Grand Plaza, one of the most exclusive hotels in the city. Victoria had made sure everyone knew she'd pulled strings to book it, though she had no idea of my connection to the place. As we drove to the hotel, Robert kept glancing at me nervously. "Victoria has a special request," he began hesitantly. "She thinks it would be better if you helped out in the kitchen during the reception." My hands tightened in my lap. "What?" "Just for appearances," he added quickly. "You know how her new in-laws are. Old money, very traditional. She doesn't want them to know about your background." I felt a familiar ache in my chest. 15 years of trying to be the perfect stepmother, of supporting Victoria through college, of attending every important event in her life. And still I was nothing more than the waitress who had married above her station. "Fine," I said quietly. Robert looked relieved, and I felt another piece of my heart crack. When we arrived at the Grand Plaza, Victoria was already there in her wedding preparation room. She looked stunning in her designer gown, but her beauty was marred by the cruel smile that crossed her face when she saw me. "Oh, good you're here," she said, looking me up and down. "The kitchen staff entrance is through the back. They're short-handed today, so you'll fit right in. It's where you belong anyway, right?" Robert shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. I saw my stepdaughter's friends hiding smirks behind their hands, and the mother of the groom looked at me with barely concealed disdain. "Of course, Victoria," I replied calmly. "Whatever makes your day perfect." As I turned to leave, Victoria called out, "Oh, and Sarah, try not to embarrass us. These people are actually important." I walked through the familiar halls of the Grand Plaza, my heels clicking against the marble floors. If only they knew that the Sarah Chen Hotel Group emblazoned on the hotel's logo wasn't just a coincidence. That the waitress they so looked down upon had built this entire chain from the ground up, starting with a small inheritance from my grandmother and turning it into a hospitality empire. But I had kept my success quiet, wanting my family to love me for who I was, not what I owned. Now, as I pushed open the kitchen doors, I wondered if I had made the right choice. The head chef's eyes widened when he saw me. "Mrs. Chen, we weren't expecting you today." I quickly shook my head, signaling him to stay quiet. "Just helping out today, James, Victoria's request." Understanding dawned on his face, followed by anger on my behalf, but he respected my wishes. I tied an apron around my waist and began helping with the wedding preparations, listening to the staff whisper in confusion about why their CEO was plating appetizers. Little did I know that this day would take an unexpected turn when my board of directors would show up for an emergency meeting about our upcoming international expansion. I had been in the kitchen for about 2 hours when my phone buzzed insistently. 12 missed calls from Marcus, my chief operating officer. I stepped into the walk-in freezer for privacy and returned his call. "Sarah, we have an emergency." Marcus's voice was tense. "The Singapore deal. They're threatening to back out unless we sign today. The entire board is flying in for an emergency meeting. We need you at the Grand Plaza in an hour." My stomach dropped. "Marcus, I'm already at the Grand Plaza." "But..." "Perfect. We'll be there soon. The future of our Asian expansion depends on this, Sarah." Before I could explain my situation, he hung up. I leaned against the cold freezer wall, my mind racing. The Singapore deal was worth billions, the biggest expansion in our company's history. Missing this meeting wasn't an option. Just then, Victoria burst into the kitchen, her white dress rustling. "Where is she?" she demanded, scanning the room until she spotted me emerging from the freezer. "What are you doing?" The appetizers aren't even done. Victoria, I need to step out for a bit. Step out? She laughed coldly. You're not a guest here, Sarah. You're the help. Or did you forget your place again? The kitchen staff froze, watching the scene unfold. Chef James took a step forward, ready to defend me, but I subtly shook my head. My daughter's right. Robert appeared behind Victoria, looking uncomfortable but firm. Sarah, you agreed to help. These are important people out there. More important than me, I asked quietly. Victoria rolled her eyes. A waitress comparing herself to the Richardsons? They own half of Manhattan. Speaking of which, Mother wants photos with just the real family. You understand, right? The words real family stung more than I cared to admit. 15 years of trying to be a mother to her, and I was still an outsider. The desserts need plating, Victoria added dismissively. Try not to ruin them like you ruined our family photo albums. As they left, I heard Victoria telling her father, I can't believe you married someone so beneath us, Daddy. Thank God the Richardsons don't know. It would ruin everything. I stood there, hands shaking, when my phone buzzed again. The board had arrived early. Through the kitchen windows, I could see them walking through the main entrance, 12 distinguished men and women in business attire, led by Marcus. Suddenly, Victoria's voice rang out from the reception hall. What are all these people doing here? This is a private event. I took a deep breath and untied my apron. It was time. Walking out of the kitchen, I emerged into the reception hall just as Marcus spotted me. Sarah, thank goodness. We need your signature on the Singapore contracts right now. The room fell silent. Victoria's perfectly made-up face contorted in confusion. What are you talking about? She's just the kitchen help. Marcus looked bewildered. Kitchen help? This is Sarah Chen, CEO of the Sarah Chen Hotel Group. She owns the Grand Plaza and our entire international chain. The champagne glass Victoria had been holding slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Robert's face had gone completely white. That's impossible, Victoria whispered. She's just a waitress. She's nothing. Mrs. Chen, one of the board members stepped forward. We have the contracts ready. Shall we use your private boardroom upstairs? Before I could respond, the mother of the groom, Mrs. Richardson, pushed through the crowd. Sarah Chen? The Sarah Chen. Our family has been trying to partner with your hotel group for years. Victoria swayed on her feet, looking like she might faint. Her perfect wedding was turning into something very different than what she planned. I straightened my shoulders and smiled professionally. We should move this to the boardroom. We wouldn't want to disturb the wedding any further. I turned to Victoria, whose mascara was starting to run. Don't worry, stepdaughter. The kitchen staff knows exactly what to do. After all, that's where I belong, right? As I walked away with the board, I heard Victoria's sobs behind me. 15 years of hiding my success, of trying to earn their love through humility, had just come to an explosive end. The next 2 hours passed in a blur of contracts, signatures, and handshakes. The Singapore deal was secured. Our hotel chain would expand across Asia, adding 20 new luxury properties to our portfolio. Under normal circumstances, I would have been ecstatic. Instead, my mind kept drifting to the chaos I'd left behind in the reception hall. When the board members finally filed out, Marcus lingered behind. Sarah, why didn't you tell them? He'd been my right hand for 10 years, watching me build this empire while maintaining my simple facade at home. I wanted them to love me for me, I said softly, gathering the signed contracts. Not for my money or success. Stupid, right? Marcus shook his head. You're the least stupid person I know. You built a billion-dollar company from nothing, but maybe it's time to stop hiding your light. As if on cue, there was a knock at the boardroom door. Robert stood there, looking more uncertain than I'd ever seen him. His blue tie, the one I helped him find this morning, was askew. Can we talk? He asked quietly. Marcus squeezed my shoulder supportively and left us alone. Robert remained by the door, as if afraid to come closer. 15 years, he finally said. All this time? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? I laughed humorlessly. When should I have told you, Robert? When Victoria was calling me a gold digger at our wedding. When your family was spreading rumors that I was only after your money. Or maybe during all those dinner parties where I was conveniently uninvited because I wasn't sophisticated enough. I should have defended you, he admitted, finally moving to sit across from me. I was a coward. Yes, you were. The silence stretched between us, heavy with 15 years of unspoken words. The diner where we met, he said suddenly. You weren't really working there, were you? I was. I met his eyes. I make every new hotel manager work in each department for a month. I believe in understanding every aspect of the business. That's how I maintain our 5-star standard. So when we met, I was doing my monthly rotation. I own 3 hotels already. I smiled sadly. You were the first person in years who treated me like a normal human being, not as someone to impress or exploit. I fell in love with that man. Robert buried his face in his hands. What happened to that man? He let his daughter and his social circle convince him that status was everything. That love wasn't enough. Just then, another knock interrupted us. Victoria stood in the doorway, her mascara streaked down her cheeks, her perfect wedding makeup ruined. The Richardsons left, she said, her voice small. They said they couldn't be associated with someone who would humiliate the CEO of the largest luxury hotel chain in the country. Isn't that ironic? I couldn't help but say, now you're the one who's not good enough for them. Victoria flinched as if I'd slapped her. I didn't know. No, you didn't. You never tried to know me. You were so convinced I was beneath you that you never bothered to see who I really was. I'm sorry, she whispered. Are you sorry for what you did, or sorry because you discovered I'm rich? She had no answer for that. I stood up, smoothing down my navy blue dress, the same dress I'd been so careful to choose this morning, not wanting to overshadow the bride. What a lifetime ago that seemed. The reception staff will continue serving your guests, I said professionally. The wedding cake will be brought out at 6. I designed it myself last week when I was doing quality checks in our pastry kitchen. I hope you like it. Consider it my final attempt at being a mother to you. As I walked past them toward the door, Robert called out, Where are you going? I turned back one last time, to my penthouse suite upstairs. I own that too, by the way. I just never told you because you both seemed so proud of your 3-bedroom condo. The door closed behind me with a soft click, leaving them to face the ruins of the perfect family image they tried so hard to maintain. The next morning, I stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of my penthouse suite, watching the sunrise over the city. My phone had been buzzing nonstop. Messages from Robert, tearful voicemails from Victoria, and surprisingly, several party invitations from the Richardsons. Amazing how quickly people change when they discover you're one of the wealthiest women in the country. A gentle knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. I opened it to find Chef James holding a breakfast tray. I thought you might need this, Mrs. Chen, he smiled kindly. Your usual blueberry pancakes and green tea. Thank you, James. I welcomed him in. And thank you for yesterday, for keeping my secret all these years. We all would have done anything for you, he said, setting down the tray. Every employee in this hotel would. You're not just our boss, you care about us. That's why we serve nothing but excellence. Although he added with a twinkle in his eye, watching you plate appetizers yesterday was quite something. We shared a laugh, but it was interrupted by another knock. Through the security camera feed, I could see Robert and Victoria outside my door. James squeezed my shoulder. Would you like me to ask security to escort them out? I shook my head. No, it's time to face this. When I opened the door, they looked terrible, still in their clothes from yesterday, with dark circles under their eyes. Victoria's wedding dress was wrinkled, her carefully styled hair a mess. Can we come in? Robert asked hesitantly. I stepped aside, letting them enter. Their eyes widened as they took in the luxurious penthouse. The crystal chandeliers, the antique furniture, the priceless art on the walls. You've lived here all along, Victoria whispered. I stay here when I need to work late, I replied. Our home was always with you and your father. At least I thought it was. Victoria burst into tears. I've been horrible to you. All these years, I was so cruel, so judgmental. And you still tried to be a mother to me. I did. The birthday parties you organize, the college recommendation letters, the internship you helped me get. Her eyes widened. Wait, did you own that company too? No, I smiled slightly. But the CEO owed me a favor. I asked her to treat you like any other intern, no special treatment. You actually did well there. Why? She asked, her voice breaking. Why did you do all that for me when I treated you so terribly? Because that's what mothers do, I said simply. They put their children first, even when those children aren't technically theirs, even when those children reject them at every turn. Robert stepped forward. I know we don't deserve it, but please, give us a chance to make this right, to be the family you always tried to make us. I looked at them both, my husband who had lost his way, my stepdaughter who had finally seen past her prejudices. 15 years of pain and rejection warred with 15 years of love and hope. It won't be easy, I warned them. Trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. We have time, Victoria said earnestly. And this time, I want to know you. The real you. Not just as my stepmother, but as the amazing woman you are. And I want to be the man you fell in love with again, Robert added. The one who didn't care about status or wealth. I was quiet for a long moment, thinking about second chances and forgiveness. Finally, I gestured to the breakfast tray James had brought. Would you like some pancakes? They're the same ones I used to make for you every Sunday, Victoria. Before you decided you were too good to eat breakfast with the help. Victoria gave a watery laugh. I'd love some. As we sat down to share breakfast, watching the sun rise over the city I'd built, I realized that sometimes the greatest wealth isn't in what you own, but in having the courage to be who you truly are. And maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late for us to become a real family, one built on love and understanding rather than status and appearance.